Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Brittany and today is going to be the first video in my new Sketching Sundays series. This is probably going to be a more quiet one, less chatty, so that I can focus on what I'm drawing. I will do a flip as I go through this sketch challenge that I've created once a month. I was going to do every week. I thought that was too much. So when I get done with January, I'll flip all of January. But for today, we're just going to sketch today's flower. And when I created this, the backstory is last year in 2023, I decided to create my own Sketch-A-Day challenge for the month of November, and I decided to do Nosegay November. So for every day in the month of November, I sketched a little tiny bouquet or nosegay, and I shared that on my Instagram stories. So at the same time as that challenge, I was also in my rare books class in my graduate studies, and we had to select a vintage and rare book to write a bibliographic file on, and I decided to do Flora's Dial, and it is currently public domain. So I thought, because that book doesn't have illustrations in it for every day, I would put my spin on it, my interpretation, and for each day that is in the book with a little prose or poetry poem, I would draw the flower that's described for the day. And what I've done here to set up, this is that MD Midori that I decorated with you guys previously in another video. And it's really fitting too that I decided to do hot air balloons for my decoration on the cover, because the college that I went to is near a city that does an annual hot air balloon liftoff or launch every year. So every time I look at this book, I'll not only be reminded of my school, but I'll also be reminded of that class. And because it is a rare book, and I was only able to find it in an online archive for a university, the likelihood of me finding one to purchase for my own, kind of like a memory, is slim. So I thought, I'm just going to take this MD Midori diary book, and I'm going to sketch excuse me, my interpretation of the flower that's described for every day, and then I'm going to write the prose in it, and then when I'm done, I'll have my own book. It's going to be one that I made, and it's going to be unique, and yeah, so that is where the idea came from. And it's kind of like a spin-off of my Nosegay November for 2023, which I do plan on continuing in this year, 2024. So looking it up already from my file from my class, the flower for January 14th is Hyssop. And to get ready, I just wrote January 14th in some like pretty little cursive lettering, and then I numbered my page the 14th. So then now I'm just going to go in and sketch. And I have a number of tools that I'm using. I have a smudge pencil, I have my Tombow stick eraser, I have that makeup brush that I use to brush away my eraser shavings. I actually found this really cool eraser pencil. Like, I didn't even know these were a thing, but when I was looking for my sketch pencils for my class that starts next week, I saw these because I was looking for this particular brand, and the eraser pencil popped up as a suggested item, so I've been loving working with that. And then these are my new sketch pencils. I have a case of them, and the case isn't all the HBs. The case is different types of graphite strengths. So, but this is the pencil that I'm going to be using. I also have this other HB, and then I have my go-to Graph Gear 500 for the finer details. I have been using the eraser a good bit on this too. They both seem to be working just fine. So the hyssop, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, that's how I'm pronouncing it. It's kind of a really detailed flower. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna write the flower down here, and I'll do it small in all caps. In print. And then below it, I'm gonna put what it represents according to that book, a little bit larger. And then I'm going to get to drawing. So I'm going to keep this format for each page, for every day, for every flower. And then to sketch, probably not going to talk much. I have this little book lamp that I can move around that I sometimes use, so that I can see my hand shadow gets in the way sometimes. So if I put this on, it helps me see a little bit better. So I will do that to start, and hopefully it won't mess up what you guys can see. But I'm just going to be quiet now, and I'm going to get to sketching. What I'm doing here when I add a rounded part to the jagged edge of the leaf is I'm giving the appearance of the leaf turning in on itself, and this now is the bottom of the leaf and the space between the new rounded curve and the previous jagged edge. Isn't that neat? That eraser pencil. I love it. That's like my favorite discovery so far. Okay, and then with my flower, what I did was I started off with tiny, very messy, kind of shadowed circles. I very faintly put a stem in between the circles, and then I went back in and I drew little buds coming off of each circle, and I just did like a half of an oval to do that. And then I'm going to take my finer pencil excuse me, and just draw some very messy centers of the flowers peeking out here and there. Not on all of them, just a couple. This smaller one I decided to not really put that many buds, but just to leave it more so with the circles because it's smaller, and I'm trying to make it look like it's coming out on the back side of the stem. So it's a little camouflage, but I'm going to add some of those centers to it. And then with the leaves, I just did a very messy vein, very lightly. And then I went out from the tips to kind of make it look like, kind of like hair. I don't know how else to explain it, but just kind of messy on the tips. And then for some shading, I'm just going to leave what's on there. I'm not going to carve this down. I'm going to leave the graphite on there, and I'm just going to use it to shade in our very fine stem, very slightly, just to give it the appearance of some color. And then I'm going to do that as well with the tips of our leaves to create a little bit of a shadow. And here I just put some little tiny lines next to the edge of the leaf, and that was so that I could smudge it and give the appearance of a shadow. And then I might just like lightly tap and drag on some of those flower circles to give it a little bit of depth and make it look like a shadow within. And then I'll go in with that eraser pencil and just clean up my edges. And if any of the shadow is too dark, I might very gently rub over it to clean it up and make it a little bit lighter. Okay, the rest of that looks good. I'm going to make the stem a little bit more dark and jaggedy, like it's coming up off of the page. And then now I'm going to write the text for that flower, and I'm just going to use my Hobonichi, kind of looks like that, my Hobonichi pencil board to do this so that I can keep a straight line, lining it up at the bottom of the page. And then I'm just going to write the prose that is with that flower. It looks pretty straight. I'm going to keep going. Oops, made a little mistake there. Clean that up. All right. So now let's take a look at our work. I will hold this up for you so you can see it a little bit better. And the prose that goes with the hyssop flower, which stands and represents holiness, is there blooms a lovely flower. It blooms in a far-off land. Its life has a beautiful mission that few will understand. Its leaves illumine the valley. Its odor scents the wood. And if evil men come near it, they grow in a moment good. And that is from the German. I love it. This is something that I have been so excited to do with you guys. I'm so happy that I discovered this book. It is a very lovely book, and I loved researching it. I loved flipping through and checking it for errors, which was part of the assignment. I loved creating the bibliography file for it, and it was one of those things that it just made sense because I was already doing Nosegay November, and I wanted to continue that, and I'm so happy that I'm going to be able to do this with you guys every day this year. So stay tuned on Sundays for Sketchin Sundays, where I will draw a flower with you and tell you a little bit about the prose that accompanies it. But if you're interested in that book, I highly recommend you check out some online archives for universities, and some public libraries I noticed do have it, and they're rare and special collections, so check it out. It is an awesome book, an awesome read, and that's where I'm going to leave you with today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to continue doing this with you next Sunday. But if you did like this, please like this video so that I know that you want more of it. Please subscribe to the channel so you'll be notified. Turn on your notifications so you'll be notified of when the next one comes up. Alright, thanks for watching today, guys. Bye!